When people first hear that Hathaway and Ewan McGregor are starring in a mysterious David Robert Mitchell sci-fi film with dinosaurs, the brain naturally tries to simplify it. Oh, okay, it's the weird family blockbuster where suburbia gets dropped into Jurassic chaos. That is the easy pitch. That is the trailer-friendly pitch. And yes, the dinosaurs absolutely matter, because Warner Bros. Clearly knows the reveal is a great button to end on. But the more interesting truth is that the end of Oak Street does not seem to be selling prehistoric spectacle first. It is selling dislocation. It is selling dread. It is selling the idea that your house, your street, your ordinary life can be ripped out of reality and dropped somewhere that does not care whether you understand what is happening. That is much more David Robert Mitchell than Big Lizard Attack movie. This project has already had a strange life before the public ever really saw it. It was previously known as Flowervale Street, a title that sounded gentler, maybe even whimsical, depending on how much of the early mystery you bought into. Now, it is the end of Oak Street, which is a much colder title and a much better one. It sounds final. It sounds like the place itself is being erased. It sounds like the movie is less interested in nostalgia for suburban life than in showing exactly how fragile that life becomes once reality starts breaking around it. That title change tells you a lot, because titles are marketing, yes, but they are also tone, and the end of Oak Street feels like a tone statement. The teaser backs that up immediately. It does not open with a giant spectacle flex. It opens inside a house, a hallway, a storm, domestic space under pressure. And Hathaway's voice starts speaking about the strange things happening around them. And before the movie ever really shows its full hand, you can already feel what it is doing, turning familiarity into instability. That is classic David Robert Mitchell territory. This is the filmmaker who made It Follows work not just because of the central horror concept, but because he understands how to make ordinary spaces feel wrong. Neighborhoods, bedrooms, streets, schools. He knows how to poison the familiar. So when a movie like this says an entire suburban street has been ripped out of place by a cosmic event, I do not just hear plot. I hear metaphor, I hear mood. I hear a filmmaker who probably wants the audience to feel spatial anxiety before he ever starts throwing prehistoric creatures at them. The official premise reinforces that idea. After a mysterious cosmic event tears Oak Street out of suburbia and transports the neighborhood somewhere unknown, the Platt family realizes that survival depends on staying together in surroundings they no longer recognize. That is simple, but it is potent. It is not about discovering a lost land in an adventurous sense. It is about your frame of reality being violently stolen and replaced by something that does not obey the rules you lived by yesterday. That is why I think the family angle is so important. Because without it, this could just become concept bait. Instead, the teaser keeps anchoring us to Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor as parents moving through something they cannot process in real time. That is much more emotionally useful than just leaning on the sci-fi weirdness alone. You need people to measure the terror through. You need a family you need to hold onto while the movie starts peeling back the logic of this new world. Maisie Stella and Christian Convery, who appear to be playing their children, complete that structure in exactly the way this kind of film needs. This works better as a keep the family together while reality collapses thriller than it would as a loser mystery with no emotional center. And then there is the dinosaur reveal, which, to be clear, is great, but what makes it great is not just that a dinosaur appears, it is the context around it. By the time the teaser finally shows that this bizarre new environment seems to brush up against some prehistoric world, you are already destabilized. The neighborhood is walled in, the edge of the familiar has literally become a boundary, and then suddenly the final punctuation mark is not some abstract anomaly, but a living, predatory answer to the question of where they are. That is a smart reveal because it expands the movie without reducing it. It says, yes, this world is dangerous in a very physical way, but the larger mystery is still intact because if the teaser had led with dinosaurs too early, it would have flattened the movie into something much more ordinary. Instead, it uses the dinosaurs as escalation. not identity. And that choice makes me think the film may have a lot more going on than the easiest online reactions are giving it credit for. It also helps that the creative team is unusually strong for this kind of original sci-fi swing. David Robert Mitchell wrote and directed the film. Michael Giacchino is doing the score, Michael Gioulakis is the cinematographer, and J.J. Abrams is producing through Bad Robot. That does not guarantee quality, obviously. Plenty of good names have gathered around underwhelming movies before, but it does tell you that the end of Oak Street is not being handled like disposable concept content. There is a real taste behind it, real point of view, real technical craft. And you can feel that in the teaser's restraint. This is not a trailer frantically trying to explain itself. It is not spelling out the science. It is not drowning you in lore. It is doing something much smarter, making you sit inside uncertainty long enough that the images start doing the work. A street cleaved out of reality, cars on the edge of impossible drops, a family running, a portal-like rupture, a landscape that feels ancient and unreachable at the same time. These are not look how expensive we are images. They are look how wrong this feels images, and it is the main reason I think this movie could become much more interesting than a weird summer curiosity. Because the release date is also doing a lot of work here. Warner Brothers is putting this in theaters and IMAX on August 14th, 2026, which is a very confident slot for something this original and tonally odd. They are not dumping it in January. They are not quietly burying it in the fall. They are treating it like a real event movie. That suggests they believe the mix of mystery, family danger, and spectacle can travel. It also suggests they think the teaser's central tension, the world you know ending in front of you, is strong enough to pull in more than just genre obsessives. So for the end of Oak Street to work, it probably needs to do two things at once. It has to market the weirdness clearly enough that the movie stands out, but not so weirdly that people decide it looks too inaccessible. That is a hard balance. Dinosaurs actually help with that. They are a familiar visual anchor inside a concept that might otherwise seem too abstract. They are the sugar that helps the cosmic spatial horror go down, but it does not bother me because the teaser still feels like it belongs to Mitchell more than the marketing department. The mood is uneasy, the dialogue is sparse, the imagery is clean and ominous. There is no sense that the movie is begging to become a meme. It feels composed. It feels like it knows the audience should be unsettled first and thrilled second. That is why the Anne Hathaway angle also matters. She is in one of those career stretches right now where she can move between prestige, comedy, blockbuster filmmaking, and strange genre material without it feeling random. The end of Oak Street sits in a very useful spot for her because it lets her bring recognizable star weight to something much weirder than a standard studio thriller. Ewan McGregor serves a similar function. He brings warmth, familiarity, and enough emotional intelligence that the family dynamic can feel credible even when the world around them gets increasingly impossible. That credibility is what keeps the movie from drifting into pure concept art. So where do I land on this first teaser? I think the end of Oak Street looks far more promising as a sci-fi survival nightmare than as a simple Dino mystery gimmick. The dinosaurs are the attention grabber, but the real hook is the violence done to normality itself. The street is gone. The rules are gone. Home is still physically there, but reality around it has been replaced by something older, stranger, and probably hostile. That is a great engine for a movie, especially in the hands of a director who already knows how to make ordinary places feel haunted. And if the full film delivers on that, then this could end up being one of the most interesting studio originals of 22/6. Not because it is big, because it is wrong in exactly the right way. So now I want to know what you think. Does the end of Oak Street look like a genuinely creepy sci-fi event? Or do you think the dinosaur reveal is doing too much of the heavy lifting right now? And more importantly, is this really a summer blockbuster in disguise, or a David Robert Mitchell nightmare that Warner Brothers is cleverly selling as one? That is the real mystery, and August 14th suddenly looks a lot stranger. I'll see you in the next one.